At our age 1 to 100 gym, one of our primary goals for our coaches and for our members is structural balance. Here with me today, I have Marcel. He's one of the few L3 coaches on the planet, and he's going to get into what structural balance is all about. So Marcel, what is it all about?
So structural balance is where the body is in balance with itself. We have different body parts that have different functions. We have body parts that do flexion, body parts that do the opposite movement, extension. So we want to make sure that the muscles that are responsible for that movement are in balance with each other. But not only that, it's also that the right side is in balance with the left side. We find that in athletic performance, when you're doing something like a bench or a squat, there are different imbalances throughout the entire body. And so it's very important to get those corrected so that you can have maximal output or maximal athletic expression.
Makes sense. All right, Marcel, we're here for our first exercise. How would you program for structural balance?
So structural balance specifically for the lower body is all based on what you're doing on the back squat. Based on what you're doing on the back squat, you should be doing certain weight with your split squats, your seated good mornings, Romanian deadlift, tibialis raise, but all of that is based off of the back squat. And for ATG, our standard is 100% body weight for 10 reps.
So this right here is his body weight.
That's right.
Okay.
And so he should be able to do 10 reps. And based off of that, he would then be able to predict what he should be doing on other exercises.
So Connor just did back squats for 10 reps with his body weight. What's the next exercise?
So because he did that much weight, in theory, he should be able to do 5 reps with half his body weight on the split squat on both legs, because the split squat is obviously a single-legged exercise. And in order for us to be able to locate and identify any weaknesses or imbalances, we use single arm or single-legged exercises in order to be able to spot those. And in theory, let's say he wasn't able to do that, by focusing his programming so that he can correct that weakness so that it does match his performance on the back squat, it then allows him to put more output onto his back squat and just his dunking or whatever athletic endeavor he does.
That makes sense. And how would you correct someone's program to actually put more emphasis on the split squats? Just doing more reps and sets of split squats or what?
Well, we have it programmed out in the standards program in the ATG app, and that's a program that's totally focused on creating structural balance. So there's regular programming of the split squats. And say, for example, someone had the freedom where he has a glaring weakness on the split squat. Maybe he could substitute out another leg extension exercise that's maybe both legs at a time, like either the back squat or the VMO squat, and switch that out with the split squat. So he has a little bit more frequency for which he trains that movement to help correct that imbalance.
Got it. So Marcel, we did back squat and then we also showed split squat. So next, what's the next exercise?
So we're also going to focus on training the posterior side or the back side of the body in addition to the front side of the body. So here, Connor should be able to do his body weight for an additional 2 reps. So this is going to be 12 reps total on the RDL. And in this movement, he's training his upper back, his glutes, low back, hamstrings. And by being able to make sure that the low back is strong in a sticking point of a back squat as you're getting out of the bottom, let's say the back was the weakness, we want to make sure we're including movements that are going to directly address the muscles that are weak based off of his squat.
Marcel, how does structural balance apply to the upper body?
So the numbers for the upper body are completely based off of what someone is doing on their bench. So depending on what you're able to execute as you're getting through the reps, it's going to dictate the numbers on exercises like your external rotation, your Powell raise, your overhead press. All of these exercises are completely dependent on what you're doing on the bench.
So Marley just showed us bench press. How does this next exercise relate to that?
So depending on his bench press, which he should have done close to about at least 40% for 8 reps, on the external rotation, he's shooting to be able to do 10% for 10 reps. Now again, this is a single arm exercise, and these external rotators are pretty much comprised of 2 muscles. There's the infraspinatus and the teres minor, which they all connect around here in the shoulder. And they're responsible for externally rotating the shoulder, hence the name. So these muscles, although they're small and the lift itself doesn't look very impressive, they have a very functional role. As you bench press, they actually help to stabilize the shoulder joint. So as they get stronger, the prime movers of the bench press, which are your pectoralis and your triceps, are able to exert more force because the shoulder joint is held in place.
So Marcel, bench press, and then we just did external rotators. What's the next exercise?
So the next exercise we would also pay attention to on the bench. I mean, there's various, right? Because the body is composed of all these different muscles that we want to make sure they perform well. But we also would utilize an overhead press with a dumbbell specifically because, again, structural balance means that the opposite muscle groups are balanced with each other, but then the left and right side. So a lift like this, he could be doing a neck press, which is a barbell, but that exercise is going to hide the weaknesses of maybe the left or right because the stronger side will be able to compensate. So this lift is going to allow him to identify if there's a weakness in his right or left arm, which then he could properly address with, say, a single arm overhead press or other single arm tricep exercises like an incline press with dumbbells to help bring to balance his upper body.
And also as another hidden benefit, you mentioned neck press. You're stopping right at the neck. With this, you can see as he goes down, he's getting all that extra depth and
That's
that range
right.
of motion.
It really does help him work an extra full range of motion, which we've seen has a great effect on the muscle, improving its strength and its flexibility.
Yep.
So by training this way, you're able to really locate and identify the different weaknesses that you have in your athletic performance. For example, Connor, though he has a fantastic split squat, he does have a weakness on the seated good morning, which he has a little bit limited range and he needs to build up the strength on it. So then he can focus his programming on correcting that imbalance. Marley as well, he's done really well on improving his back squat, seated good morning. It's all textbook form, but his upper body needs a little bit more development. So he's going to target that same shoulder press that we did today so that he can build it up to what it should be doing based off of his bench.
Makes sense. And as you mentioned, we do have programs in our app that cover those things. We have a full calculator where someone can input the weight of a certain movement and it spits out exactly what they should be doing for other movements.
That's right.
Marcel, thanks again for showing us what structural balance is all about. As I mentioned, you can find all of our programs at atgonlinecoaching.com, especially the programs including our structural balance calculator. We look forward to seeing you in the next video.